All right, so hello to everyone here. And if for some reason you cannot hear me, feel free to send me a little note in the question box or in the chat. So welcome everyone to Ohio Ecological Food and Farm Association's webinar, Zero Interest Capital for Agricultural Innovation. My name is Milo Petrozello. I will be your moderator for this session. This evening we are discussing the crowdsourced loan program Kiva Zip, which allows farmers and other social businesses to apply for zero-fee, zero-interest loans of up to $10,000. A Kiva Zip trustee since 2014, OEFFA serves a vital role by endorsing prospective borrowers. We became a trustee because we feel this program represents a tremendous opportunity for farmers and other food-related businesses to access inexpensive capital to grow their business. Our speaker this evening is Reese Neader, founder and CEO of Forge Columbus and a Kiva Fellow. He attended Denison University before serving as policy director for the Roosevelt Institute. He has given trainings on community development to international organizations like the United Nations and World Bank. Reese will walk us through how the program works and how borrowers can use it successfully. So
thanks, Milo.
During this session, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just saying thanks and hi everybody. Thanks for joining. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So during this session, all attendees will be muted. So if you have a question, please type it into the question box in your dashboard there. After the session is over, I will read all the questions for Reese to answer. Just so you know, the webinar will be recorded and will be available afterwards for you to see again. So now, without any further ado, I will pass it on to Reese.
All right. Well, thanks, Milo. I appreciate it. Hey, everybody out there. Tonight I'm going to be talking to you about the Kiva platform and how you can use it to build and grow your ag business. As Milo stated, I'm just going to run through this presentation and we'll do questions and answers at the end, but feel free to type in any questions. And if there's anything really pressing that you need to know about, if things are getting confusing, please feel free to stop me and let's work through this. Just a little bit more background about myself. I grew up in Southeast Ohio, living on and around farms, and when I was in college, I took a year off school to live and work on a farm in Asheville, North Carolina. I'm a big believer in the importance of small farms in our country, and I've been a big fan of OEFFA ever since I was a student at Denison. So I want to make sure I can be as helpful to your organization's members as possible. I hope that this presentation isn't just the end of a conversation, but hopefully the beginning. We find ways to work together. So Kiva, okay, it's a international organization, nonprofit, founded in San Francisco. It works in 83 countries around the world, has over 1.5 million users around the world who are lending money. It was founded 10 years ago. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with PayPal, but the founder, or one of the co-founders of PayPal, Pramil Shah, founded Kiva with his wife when they were interested in addressing poverty around the world. They both had a good tech background. They were trying to figure out how they could be useful. They'd made millions of dollars and they wanted to give back, so they launched Kiva. For 10 years, Kiva's been doing excellent work around the world. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But 3 years ago, Kiva entered the U.S. market out of the realization that while it was important and good to be, helping farmers and other social businesses build and grow across the developing world, we have a severe problem with access to capital and poverty alleviation here in the United States as well. So here's the fundamentals. Kiva is trying to address a problem. That problem is access to capital. Some quick stats to throw out there. 2/3 of American jobs are with small businesses, which Kiva actually classifies, and for the statistics that we're using, the SBA is classifying micro enterprises as 10 employees or less. So that comprises 25 million micro enterprises across the United States. How important are small businesses, including family farms, to employment in America? This is a fact that blew my mind when I first started as a Kiva Fellow. If 1/3 of all small businesses in the United States, with 10 employees or less, could hire one more person, we'd be at 100% full employment in this country. And so being able to help businesses, including small farms, grow and thrive is incredibly important to the American economy and our way of life. Now, in terms of access to capital, which is what businesses and small farms need to grow, I think all of you probably know it's incredibly hard to get a loan from any traditional source. As an example, 7 out of 10 SBA loans are rejected on average. That's 8,000 loan applications across the country being rejected every single day. When we just talked about the size and scope of small business employment in the United States, only 20,000 loans are approved by the SBA every single year. There is a reason for that. So depending on what region of Ohio you're listening in from right now, your communities might have a different mix of community banks, corporate banks, CDFIs, other organizations. But for anyone who's trying to deploy capital in the United States, microfinance is expensive. So the reason why your community bank or a large bank isn't interested in giving you a $10,000 loan, it's because they're not going to make any money off of it. It costs them just as much money to service a $10,000 loan as it costs to service a $100,000 or $200,000 loan. So it's not part of their business model. Unfortunately, that's not going to help you grow. An anecdote that we like to give, when we're giving trainings to different kinds of entrepreneurs across the country is that, 7,500 years ago, particularly if you were a farmer, but if you were, also just an entrepreneur in a small town, you knew the people, and your family knew the people at your community bank. You could, you probably had a relationship with them, or at least they knew your family, or there were people in the community who could vouch for your family, and you could, work something out. Even 50 years ago, even organizations like churches were much more actively involved in being able to, help deploy capital in their communities. But the issue that we have today is that, basically almost no one has the credit score to be able to get traditional loans because everything has been reduced to an algorithm. So, if you have a bad credit score, if you're, loaded up with debt, regardless of whether that's student loans or hospital bills or anything else, it's incredibly difficult to get that, $0 to $50,000 that most small businesses need to be able to grow and just add another employee, pay for equipment, provide gap financing so that they can keep operating while they're waiting for bills to come in and get paid. I'm sure all of you have experiences that you can share about the difficulties of trying to operate your business with issues to access to capital. So Kiva, and I want to make this very clear, is just one of the important solutions that's being developed and deployed across the country. And I'm going to try to give you a breakdown both of the big picture of how it works and why, but then also walk you through how an application works so that if you're interested in starting an application, going through the process, even tonight, you'll have enough information to be able to do so. So the basic rundown on Kiva, it is a crowdfunding platform that allows you to raise loans, zero interest loans of up to $10,000. No loans, no fees. So think of Kiva as crowdfunding philanthropy. People can invest as little as $25 in campaigns, crowdfunding campaigns all around the world. They're doing it at zero interest. When a person gets funded, and it gets paid back, that person can take that money and reinvest it in another campaign, but they're not collecting any interest. So I want to make this clear. This is what makes Kiva different from Indiegogo, from Kickstarter, from other platforms. You're not asking people for donations. You're asking people to invest in your business as a zero interest loan that you're going to pay back. So a zero interest, zero fee loan of up to $10,000, and depending on the amount of money that you're requesting. You choose your own repayment rate anywhere from 6 to 36 months. So on loans of up to $5,000, you can choose repayment between 6 and 24 months. On loans of up to $10,000, you can choose repayment of up to 36 months. And I want to be very clear, I'll probably mention it again in this presentation, but for agribusinesses and farmers, you can also receive up to a 1-year grace period before you begin repayment, because Kiva has a great working relationship with the agricultural borrowers that it's worked with, and it's been a proven model. They know that farmers are going to pay off their loans, and they understand that farmers have different kinds of needs compared to the average entrepreneur. So we try to help them as much as they can. To date, Kiva, as a global crowdfunding platform, has supported over 1,500 businesses through fully funded crowdfunding campaigns. Over $100 million in loans have been deployed, and across the globe, Kiva has a 99% repayment rate. Here in the United States, Kiva has a 90% repayment rate. I want to be clear that Kiva does not ask its borrowers for any collateral. There is a credit check that's used, but the credit check is not to determine your credit worthiness. It's to verify you and your business as being valid. They also do a call with you and check in other ways to verify that you are who you say you are. But you know, as a platform, they do ask you for your credit check, but they're not going to use it against you. As a global crowdfunding platform, Kiva has 1.5 million registered users. So these are lenders, people across the world who are investing as little as $25 into campaigns. There are over 40,000 unique visitors every day to Kiva's platform. Lenders are coming from over 180 countries around the world. Kiva works in 83 countries. We'll talk more about lending teams later because there's a special use for that for farmers, but there are 27,000 lender teams on Kiva, and it was ranked recently by Time Magazine as the #1 nonprofit tech company in the world. I'm telling you these stats only to give you the sense of the legitimacy of the platform and the power that it has to be able to support entrepreneurship. So when you go to Kiva and you select a crowdfunding campaign, this is what it's going to look like. What you see on your screen here, I purposely chose a agricultural loan. It's pretty simple. Down here below this picture, I couldn't fit it all onto the screen, but you would see a description of the farm, their business, what they're using the loan for, a little bit about their personal story. Every loan that's made is made to an individual. So you can see here, Need More Acres Farm in Bowling Green, Kentucky is raising the loan, but it's being raised by Michelle. Michelle has a personal story that she can tell about why and how she needs that, how her farm came to be. When people are lending on Kiva, again, they're not making any interest on the loans that they're helping you crowdfund. What they're interested in is the personal and powerful story of each entrepreneur who's using the platform. They're investing in you as a person. And so, you'll see here a loan of $10,000 helps me build a commercial kitchen in order to offer consumers, schools, food pantries, and restaurants to access conveniently prepared, locally grown foods. Every loan has a specific purpose. Now, it's your job to define what that purpose is because the crowd is going to make the decision whether or not to invest in you. But it's important to know that a Kiva loan can be used for any purpose as long as it's related to working capital of some kind, marketing, legal fees, hiring a new employee, equipment, anything that's going to help build and grow your business. The other important thing to note when you're looking at this screen, and we're going to go deep into the process, so don't worry. It says here, this loan is endorsed by Seed Capital Kentucky, Inc. So, as Milo mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, OEFFA is a community trustee for Kiva, which means that they provide endorsements for entrepreneurs who use the platform. Now, obviously, OEFFA is supporting, organic and sustainable farmers in Ohio, and so for their members, they're providing the service of providing a public recommendation and reference for you for your campaign. So you'll see here, that Seed Capital Kentucky has a story about why they're endorsing Michelle, and there's a little scorecard basically for how many loans the organization has made, what their repayment is, and so that's the role that OEFFA can play for you, providing a public recommendation for the loan. Now, every trustee also has the opportunity to help leverage their network to support the crowdfunding of your campaign, and we'll get more into that. But I just wanted you to see this. And any advice for anyone who is really interested in using this platform, you see what a great picture they have there. The picture is actually the most important part of your campaign. I'd like to tell you that it's about the nice things that you write, but in reality, there's 1.5 million lenders cruising around on this website every day looking at loans from all around the world. It's your picture that's going to help you stand out. You don't have to provide perks. You don't have to provide any sort of merchandise or anything like you do on Kickstarter or Indiegogo. It's just a simple page. And so, this is a powerful picture. It shows, how happy and great this place is, and, helps tell the story of why people should invest in Need More Acres Farm. So, important thing to note, because I'm sure there are many different kinds of farms and agribusinesses in the OEFFA network. Kiva lends to both businesses and nonprofits. So that's an important thing to consider. If you have a foundation or are part of some other nonprofit, you're also eligible for these loans. As I touched on a little earlier, trustees endorse the entrepreneur. Now they can also assist with the application. They can also assist with publicly sponsoring the campaign and by connecting supporters to the campaign. Another important thing to note, which I'll get to later, and it's actually the most important thing, is that having a trustee endorsement, so if you do a loan and have OEFFA support you, Kiva automatically provides a dollar-to-dollar match through their website to your campaign. So if you're trying to raise $10,000 so that you can hire some new employees for your farm, you only actually have to raise $5,000 because every time someone is committing $1 to your campaign, Kiva uses money from contributions from foundations and other organizations that have given donations to them to match every investment. So I want to be very clear about this because it can sometimes be confusing to entrepreneurs. You're raising debt. So if you're raising a $10,000 loan with a 36-month repayment rate, that's literally the first thing that you sign up for on your application. So if you're trying to raise $10,000, Kiva is not going to help you raise more than that $10,000. You're raising debt for a specific cause and purpose to pay it back at a specific rate. So when I say that you get a match, for a dollar-to-dollar match for having a trustee, it does not mean that if you're trying to raise $10,000, you get 20. It means that you only have to raise 5. So because every dollar will be matched dollar for dollar. So important things to note. Now, I've been giving you kind of the big picture of what Kiva is and how it works, but now we're going to get down into the real nitty-gritty. The basic mechanics of how Kiva works as a borrower is just 4 simple steps. So phase 1, it's filling out the application. Now, it's important to note that actually in a week from now, Kiva Zip, which is the Kiva in the United States website, is merging with Kiva, the global platform. All the loans already run through that, but they've been working on 2 separate websites because the launch of Kiva in the United States was a experiment. It was a beta test. It was successful, so now they're fully integrating. That integration will be done the first week of June. So everyone who fills out an application, you're going to go to kiva.org, you're going to fill out your loan application, and hopefully, since you're here on OEFFA's webinar and you're interested in this, you're going to contact Milo and the staff to let them know that you'd like them to be your trustee. And so he can fill out an application, or their staff can fill out an application for you as well. This loan application usually doesn't take more than 45 minutes. It's not asking you for a lot of private information. So don't get stressed out about this first piece. The most important part is being very clear, short, and concise with your answers so that people can quickly read your story and what you're raising money for, and having a good picture. So once you've gone through that application, just remember loans can be used for any working capital purpose. You know, again, hiring an employee, new equipment, bridge financing, you know, whatever you need to build and grow your business. And the big thing for ag borrowers, and why it's such a great platform, particularly for them, is that you can request up to a 1-year grace period for repayment. Because Kiva understands, right, like, you know, when you're a farmer, you're making investments that aren't going to pay off for a year. So it costs a lot of money and it takes a lot of time before you start getting a return. Kiva understands that. They're willing to work with you. The second piece, so you've gone through the application process. OEFFA has filled out their trustee form for you to give you a public endorsement. You then go into a 1-week review process where the Kiva staff and the fellow, which is me if you're in the Columbus region, will review your loan application. You'll be contacted by Kiva staff just so that they can verify who you are. It's important to note, again, when I talked about your credit score, they're going to ask for that, but they're not using it against you. The other important thing to note about it is that a Kiva loan does count towards your business credit. So if you repay your loan, you're going to help boost your business credit. Anyway, the loan review process takes about a week, sometimes less. But at that point, you'll be ready for step 3. So once your application is reviewed and it's accepted by Kiva, you will launch into a 15-day private fundraising period. So going back to this slide, you'll have a profile page that looks like this, you know, with your story on it, your picture, everything else. You'll have a web link. So you will have a Kiva page. It just won't be able to be seen by anyone unless they have access to the specific link that you have. And it's your job at that point, depending on how much money you ask for. Kiva will give you a number of between 20 to 30 lenders who need to invest as little as $25 in your campaign to help it launch into public fundraising on Kiva's global platform. It's not, during this process, it doesn't matter how much money you raise. It's about the number of people that invest in your campaign. And it's important that these people invest in your campaign because that's why Kiva doesn't really care about your credit score. Kiva is using your social credit as a score. So, you know, I know that farmers are some of the best network people in the world because you live in a community where people all kind of rely on each other, you know, are in constant communication. People know who's doing good work and who isn't. If you have a network of support for your farm, you're going to get through this process and you're going to succeed wildly. But you have to work. This is what I always tell borrowers, that this is the one part of doing Kiva that is difficult and requires work. If you invite 20 to 30 people and you do it just by posting things on Facebook or sending out a blanket email to your listserv for your farm, nobody is going to invest. It just works like that. I don't know how much experience each of you have, you know, with social marketing, but one-on-one and in person is still the way to go with anything if you're trying to ask someone to do something for you. So you can advertise your campaign on Facebook via email, however you want, but you need to reach out to people via text message, via phone call, via personal email, whatever you have to do to actually get their attention and get them to verbally or through text commit to investing in your campaign. I know that that makes a lot of people uncomfortable, right? It's not natural for us to ask people for money. You know, it's not how a lot of us were raised. But you're not asking them to give you money. This isn't a donation. This is an investment. And they're investing as little as $25 to help your business grow, which is a very important thing, and they're going to get their money back. Just as a more background, all of the transactions done on Kiva are done via PayPal, who waives all of the fees. So when you go onto Kiva's website, you start your application, you're either going to have to link to a PayPal account that you already have or create a PayPal account so that Kiva can dispense money to you. Everybody who signs on to Kiva as a lender also has to register via PayPal. If they already have an account, that's great. If not, they have to create one. It only takes a couple clicks. It's a very short process. But that's how the money is exchanged. So you don't get your money until you've successfully raised the entire loan amount. And then at that point, within 2 business days, the money is released. And once you start paying back, it's a very simple process. You might have up to 125 people investing in your campaign. You don't have to pay each of them back individually. You just pay the simple monthly rate that you have back in your PayPal account, and PayPal at 0 fees breaks it up and sends it in small incremental payments back to the lenders. So anyway, again, back to private fundraising. You have 15 days to get a specific number of people that Kiva asks you to invest in your campaign. Be aggressive in that outreach, engaging with people individually, or else they're not going to invest in your campaign. That's just how it works. Now, if you do that, congratulations. You're going to launch publicly onto Kiva's global website, and you'll have 45 days to crowdfund the rest of your money. Once you have got through private fundraising, this is the important point to note. That's going to be tough, making sure that you get enough people in your network to invest. But once you go onto the public fundraising platform, you have an over 90% chance of being successfully funded. And that was when Kiva had a separate U.S. website. Now that Kiva will be linked in the U.S. directly to the global website, they're expecting that most loans will be able to successfully fund within 10 days by the time that they launch. So your profile goes public, you have a 45-day campaign, you have a 90% chance of successfully funding. And those are the steps. Again, once you've successfully crowdfunded within the 45 days, Kiva will release the money to you in a lump sum within 2 business days. And then depending on how long of a grace period that you have, you'll start repayments and pay back into your account. Once you've repaid your loan, you can totally do another loan. And Kiva has a special algorithm so that repeat borrowers are posted with much more visibility on the website because they want to build brand loyalty. For the lenders who are investing in your campaign, as I mentioned, they're going to be getting paid back incrementally month by month. And when your loan is paid off and they have all that money back, they can choose to either keep that money just by taking it back out of their PayPal account, or if they want, and what most people do, is recycle that money back into another account so that the $25 they've invested turns into 50, turns into 75, etc. Important thing to note, again, having OEFFA serving as your trustee means that you get a dollar-for-dollar match on your campaign. And a special bonus that I would like to add for any folks who are on this webinar, if you have a farm inside of Franklin County, you also have the potential for a double match from Kiva Columbus, which is the program that I run. We're launching a revolving loan fund that will be supported by some local financial institutions on July 21st. And at that point, if you're launching within Franklin County and you have a trustee, that means you will get a 2-to-1 match for every investment that you get on your campaign. Now, I went through this pretty fast, but I wanted to end this with a couple of examples for how agricultural borrowers use this. So I'm sure that you're all familiar with the organization Slow Money. Slow Money Louisville is a community trustee, and what they like to do is lower the cost of the loans that they crowdfund themselves by layering those loans with Kiva. And so let's say you're a farmer, you need a investment of $30,000 for some new farm equipment. Well, Slow Money can help you out, and instead of 30, they'll give you 20,000, and then help you do a $10,000 campaign on Kiva, which will bring down your borrower rate, so that everybody is getting a better term. Also, another thing to note, and I haven't talked about lending teams yet. Ag borrowers can build lending teams to support each other. So, as I mentioned, everyone who gives money on Kiva's platform to entrepreneurs has to create a Kiva account. So individuals can create Kiva accounts and then link them together as teams. So churches have teams, synagogues and mosques have teams, nonprofit organizations that support entrepreneurship have lending teams, cities have lending teams. Anyone can create a lending team. It's just linking your profiles together so that you can co-invest in campaigns and coordinate that. So some interesting stuff that we're seeing across the country is that ag borrowers are working in their rural communities to build lending teams to support each other. For instance, recently in California, there was a group of 5 farms that all launched Kiva loans together and built a massive lending team out of all of their networks so that they could co-leverage that investment. And all of their loans got funded together within several days. You all have very strong networks. You might use them in very different ways, but if you're trying to raise money for your business, this is a very easy and powerful way to do that. And so that's the end of the basic presentation that I have. I know that that was a lot of information. I'm sitting here on a web platform. I can't see any of you, so I'm sure that you had a lot of questions at different points in that presentation. So I think it would be good to stop now. Milo, I'm happy to answer questions directly from you. If there's anything else you want me to touch on or go back over, or we can just start answering questions directly from the audience.
Okay, thank you, Reese. So if you do have questions, please go ahead and you can type them in that little question box down near the bottom. And so, Reese, one question real quick about the double match through Kiva Columbus.
Sure.
Does that basically mean you would just have to raise like about $3,300 to get 10 grand, or does it increase? Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So when I say a double match, that just means so what we're doing here in Columbus. So I'm a fellow for the city of Columbus. I've raised money from Franklin County, the city of Columbus, and organizations that are based here to create a specific Kiva Columbus subpage on Kiva, so that starting on July 21st, we will have a specific web page where everyone can go to see loans that are being sponsored in Columbus. And attached to that, we have a revolving loan fund that will be managed by Kiva, so that every borrower who's posting within Franklin County onto that page will be able to not just get a matching dollar for dollar investment from their trustee organization, but then also a matching dollar for dollar investment from that revolving loan fund. Did that answer the question?
Yes,
cool.
I did. Thank you.
Great.
No questions yet, but I do want to mention also, just for everyone's information, if you are interested in OEFFA being your trustee, so www.oeffa.org/invest, or just you can find it through our website, oeffa.org, and it's on the left under Investing in Agriculture. We have details about the program and how you would go through it and how you would apply for our endorsement as a trustee. We just ask that for our endorsement, folks be an OEFFA member in good standing, hold a current organic certification, or for their operation to be able to demonstrate engagement in or support for sustainable agricultural practices throughout the lifetime of the investment and be located in Ohio. Let's see. All right, I'm still not seeing any questions. Reese, do you have anything you want to add at this point?
I don't, but if you're listening, right now, and you have any specific questions, feel free to email Milo to ask for my contact information. It's also just Reese, R-E-E-S-E, at forgecolumbus.org. I'm happy to work with you, answer any questions specifically that you might have. Depending on how close you live, I might even be able to come out and check out your farm, and help talk through things with you, person to person. This platform has a lot of success working with farmers, and so I hope that everyone listening, considers using the platform if you have capital needs.
Okay, well, thank you, Reese.
Thank you, Mike.
If there are no further questions, then we can wrap up early. If anyone has questions in the future or is interested in the program, you can find us through our website, oeffa.org, or you can certainly email me. My email is very simple. It's Milo, M-I-L-O, at oeffa.org. Yeah, so thank you very, very much, and hope you have a good season.
All right, thanks, Milo. Have a good summer, everybody.